Hi, Kylie here. Welcome to my Plan With Me for September 2025. So the theme for this month is woodland animals, and here is the general playing around to get a feel for what I might draw. This, you'll notice, is running a little bit late, and I'll talk about this in a minute. First of all, I'll mention that I yet again have not worked out how to use a phone. I kept it recording because I was just going to go straight into drawing this bit and sort of, start cutting it out. And I had managed to pause the recording, and I thought that I had restarted the recording from the pause, but obviously I'd stopped the recording altogether and hadn't noticed. So you missed the first couple of animals. I'm sure that you'll be fine with that. So woodland animals are quite cute and fun to draw. The title page, after a little bit of time spent working out what I thought I was going to do, ended up doing this little random woodland scene with animals that would never be together like this, but hey, I get to draw what I want to draw. So I've got a banner that says September, and then I have a deer, a moose, a raccoon, a bird flying through the sky, a bear, a couple of rabbits, a squirrel, and an owl in a tree. So yeah, that's the title page. And yes, this is a week late. Well, we're already a week into September, let's put it that way. And this has been really interesting for me. I've spent a little bit of time trying to work out what's going on. I'm not entirely sure that I know, but I really procrastinated over doing my bullet journal this month. And I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I think there are a couple of things that I've sort of put it down to. One is that I'm not using my bullet journal as much because I don't have client work. And normally my bullet journal is a very important part of trying to corral and manage all the disparate client work that I have. At one point in time last year, I had a dozen client projects on the go, and most of them were, lengthy, like longer term, where I was submitting stuff to them and then they were taking it away for feedback for a couple of weeks and then coming back. And, so I had a lot of stuff that I was trying to manage and manage deadlines and everything around. And I don't have a lot of client work on. And the client work that I have had has been basically event drawing. So going to an event, drawing, coming home. And yeah, it's had a little bit of digital redraw in it, but not really much work outside of that. And I haven't had that many clients. So I've really been managing my own time and my own creativity. And I've found that I haven't really needed my bullet journal to do that, because largely I'm working on my Oracle card project. That's really what I've been spending the majority of my time on. And so I don't have a long task list, and that's meant that I've sort of set my bullet journal aside. And I think that was one of the reasons there wasn't really an impetus for me to draw up September, because the last couple of weeks I haven't really been using the bullet journal very much. And that was one part. The other part of procrastinating over it was, I wasn't sure what I was going to do for my title page, and I wasn't sure what I was going to draw. And because I've been drawing so much digital work for my Oracle cards, I don't know, I've just gotten a little bit out of the habit of drawing physical stuff, which is nuts because, I drew up an entire travel journal not long ago. So it's not like I'm totally out of the habit of drawing analog or drawing physically. But yeah, I don't know. I think I got in my head a little bit about it. Plus, I've been doing so much creativity for myself and for my projects with the Oracle cards, and also getting my website ready for the book. No, it has not arrived yet. Yes, I need to chase it this week. But getting all of that ready and getting that all done, I've sort of felt like I've used up my creativity. And so, yeah, I sort of just felt like I didn't have a lot left to do this. So it had an impact, which is always interesting for me to sort of sit down and reflect upon, because not using my bullet journal regularly for client work, I need to reset my brain to go, yes, but my bullet journal has another purpose. Like I still put my own tasking into it as well, but my bullet journal is also a regular reflective space. And if I'm not doing that regular reflection, try saying that 5 times really fast. If I'm not doing my regular reflection in my bullet journal and capturing my mood, then how will I keep track of the things that I sort of try to monitor in myself? So yeah, it's been an interesting sort of process over the weekend to sit down and think about why this was causing such problems for me. But, it's another reflective thing of being a little bit aware of when my brain is stopping me from doing things and why might it be doing that? And is there something that I need to dig into around this? And I think there probably is, but I'm not entirely sure what that is. So that'll be a conversation when I see my psych next time. Anyway, August was good. Not a lot of client work, as I said, lots of time to be spending on my personal projects, which was great. Just quickly, my quote for this month is "The Earth Laughs in Flowers," which is a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. And since we're now in spring in Australia, I thought I'd do a springish type quote. And flowers are starting to come out. We have a lot of wattle around us, and that burst of yellow sort of comes a couple of weeks before spring really starts. So, we've had that lovely colour burst and everything else is just getting ready to just explode really, which is great. So, client work. So I haven't had a lot of client work, which means I've had a lot of time for me. It also means I've had time to sort of take things a little bit slower as well. Like I've actually read a couple of books, which has been great, and just being able to give myself a little bit of breathing space from the madness that was the last 9 months of client work was just, nuts. Anyway. So it's good, and I'm not freaking about not having clients because of, how much I had in sort of particularly the last 6 months of last year. It's been really great having a break, and financially, I've banked a bit of money in the business to be able to do that, so that's all good as well. So, it's really nice. And September is not looking like that's going to change massively. I've got a couple of bits of work, but not a lot. So hopefully I'll get a chance to finish my oracle cards, which I'll talk about in a second. But just quickly, week 1, the drawing that I've included in week 1 is a little fox sitting on a tree stump with a butterfly flying in the air around it. And I really enjoyed drawing this little fox. I don't think I've ever drawn a fox before, and it was quite cute. I'm a bit of a fan, so who knows, might turn up in other places as well. So, not that much more client work. So the oracle cards are going well, and so well that I'm at the point where I'm just messing around with them now because, this is a whole different thing. This is very different from anything I've done before. And I think there's a little bit of fear in sharing that with others. So a couple of people have seen a couple of bits and pieces, but not the entire finished thing. And I find that I'm at the point of just messing around with it and playing with colour schemes and adding little bits and pieces. And at some point I just have to stop and be brave enough to show it to other people and say, okay, so what do you think? And then work out how I'm going to actually put it out into the world. Just quickly, the next week layout, I've got a couple of elements from the woodland, so from a forest. I've got an acorn, a leaf, a mushroom, a dragonfly, and then just a few little tiny flower motifs in there as well. So I need to just get off my butt and be brave and share it with a couple of sort of review people so that I can get a bit of feedback around it all, and then, work out how I'm going to release it. What I mean by that is I've considered doing a Kickstarter for it, just as more as a way of sort of promoting it and selling it, because I'm going to make them regardless. There's no way I've put this many hours of work into it and I'm not going to make them. So it's not that I desperately need the funding for it, but it's more that is a way of being able to promote it. And then if it does do well, I can add in a couple of things like, adding in a potentially a little enamel badge to be able to sell with it, and just a couple of other little bits and pieces that I could put in as stretch goals depending how it went. So yeah, I'm currently trying to work out whether I have the energy to do that or whether I just release it normally. I don't know. But anyway, if anyone has an experience with Kickstarters and would like to add their 2 cents about whether I should bother, feel free. We're into the next week now, and I have a hedgehog, a bunny, and a mole. So yeah, I sort of chose, I don't know, the body shapes are similar-ish, and then it was just how you finish them off. For the final week of the month, I've got some trees. They're sort of like birch trees. I think that's right. And I've just put some colourful little birds around them, so sitting on the branches. The colour palette that I've used this month is called Woodland, so it's one of my art philosophy ones. When I was going through and choosing, this one is called Woodland, so it just goes without saying it was the palette I was going to use. That's how it works. But yeah, I'm really hoping that you all are doing well, that September will be a nice time for you, that, the world just stops. It just has to stop. But happy place, not going to go there. Not entirely sure what I would say if I was going to go there. It's probably best for me to just leave that alone. But yeah, I hope that September is really nice for you. I'm looking forward to a couple of things that we have going on, so that should be fun. The final week, because it's only 2 days, I've left space down the bottom for lettering. I haven't done another illustration in there. So here is my bullet journal for September. I hope that you like it. I will try very hard to make sure that I get October done in a timely way, so hopefully see you back here at the end of September for that. In the meantime, have a lovely month and thank you for being here. Bye.